probably the worst thing you could have done. Just spoke to me in the back room.
Oh, you're that guy that lost like the girl kind of thing, and I'm like,
we didn't have time to stop. We barely had time to get a drink. You know, I helped put darts where it is.
Welcome to a very special edition of Tungsten Talks, where I'm joined by the two players who contested one of the most famous games of darts ever, Fallon Sherrock and Ted Evetts. Welcome to both of you. We're going to reflect on that match and the impact that it's had on both of you. But Fallon, we will start with you. Just first of all, give us your memories of, we'll start at the end, of winning that match and that moment when the crowd at Alexandra Palace erupted.
The memories of it was like really good. I just remember, hitting the double and then like the sigh of relief. Like I didn't actually know like what emotion to kind of do, and then I just hear the crowd just go mental. And then after I think me and Ted come off the stage, it was an absolute blur till like probably 2 days later. Like I literally cannot remember much from after that.
Ted, and for you again, we'll stay in that moment there. What was it like just being in that cauldron? Obviously the only thing you probably want to do is get off the stage and get out of it, but was there a sense that something incredible had happened, and despite the disappointment you were part of that?
Yeah, no, to be fair, I mean, I just looked at a little stat thing after a couple of sets and I thought, both playing well here. Carried on. Someone told me like afterwards, like 2 sets apiece, both 100 plus averages or high 90s, whatever, thinking it's best I've played up here, and I still weren't enough kind of thing. But I mean, we've known each other for a long while before it anyway, so know each other's game kind of thing. First time playing against each other, but obviously, yeah, it was just one of them games. Both played well, and yeah, you just got to respect a good game.
Well, let's talk about the build-up to it as well now, because Fallon, that was before the era of the women's series, so even to get to Ali Pali, you'd had to play in a pretty brutal qualifier, I think beating Lisa Ashton along the way. She'd played in the tournament a year before with Anastasia as well. So what was the moment like when you won that qualifier and realised that you were going to be on the Ali Pali stage?
It was just filled with like excitement, because I actually remember going to the qualifier, because like back then, it was a 1 day thing, and it was like you literally played that one comp, and if you didn't win, you were out straight away. And I remember going with Lorraine Winstanley. It was just me and her that weekend, because obviously like Anastasia and all that had to go over to Germany. So we were just like sat on the table, like kind of gearing each other up, like, come on guys, you can do it, that kind of thing. And then like the more I got through, then I got to the final, I was so nervous playing Natalie Gilbert. I was like, oh my God, because obviously it's one of the things that I wanted to do so bad, because obviously seeing Lisa do it so many times and that, I was like, I want to do it. But yeah, no, when I won, I was like so excited, but I didn't actually know the impact it would have had, and how it would have exploded the way it did.
And the next thing that kind of happened was the anticipation of the draw. And there was a sense, wasn't there, for those first few years, for a lot of the male players, we don't want to draw the women in the draw. Is that something that you felt before the draw? And then how did you react when Fallon's name came out next to yours?
I think more like before the draw. Obviously, at that point, it's, you're not getting a seed. So in the back of your mind, you're thinking, not really fussed who I get. I want to win no matter what, obviously. It's the world champs. But then at the same time, it's kind of like, you really don't mind so much. Obviously, if I was to draw someone that's running at a 97 for the year, having the best year of their life kind of thing, you are thinking, ooh, kind of thing. But it's the world champs. No matter who you're playing, it's tough. So it doesn't really matter that much on the draw, because if you get up there, you're going to do one of two things: either play really well and win, or you're going to play well or not. If you play well, you win. Sometimes you don't. If you play bad, sometimes you win. Most of the time you don't. It just comes down to, if you're playing, just enjoy yourself. It's the world, like you work all year for it kind of thing. Obviously always disappointing to go out first round. Year before, I managed to win my first ever game there. So in my head, I'm thinking, right, let's try and progress on it. But at the same time, it's my best average up there, I believe. So you just have to hold your hands up and say, well done.
And Ted mentioned actually earlier that you knew each other for a long time before that. So what was your reaction when you'd drawn someone that you knew? Because there would have been a lot of players that you could have drawn that you'd never met before.
To be fair, I was actually all right when I drew Ted. Like I remember sitting in the car when the draw was like being done, and I think it was like kind of because I knew Ted anyway. I knew his game. It weren't like I was going up playing someone that I didn't know. So I was really excited because I knew I had to hit at least like a 90 plus average if I was like ever going to kind of keep up with him. So I kind of knew what to do in my game before I actually got there as such. And I think, you know, even the breaks when we were playing, we were actually talking in the back. So I think that kind of helped me a little bit because I was like more chilled out. It probably the worst thing you could have done is spoke to me in the back room. But yeah, no, I was just like so chilled out playing him because obviously like we played like Northern Youth and stuff together. Like, so I knew Ted from youth.
The game itself then, I mean, are you both the types of players who remember everything about darts matches anyway? Some do, but some forget everything.
I think for me, it depends how well I'm playing. Like, some of the best games I've ever played, I haven't got a clue what I've done in it kind of thing. I think I'm very much a beat myself up kind of player. Just because I know my potential is quite high, can play stupidly well, as we saw last night in the final game kind of thing. But I think for myself, it was kind of like, yeah, just one of them kind of things.
You won the first set though, and you led 1-0, you led 2-1 in sets as well. So in those moments, did you just feel totally normal and think this is just going to be the, you know, the win that I came here to get?
It was more just like try to keep focus, like just ignore everything around me, ignore literally everything. Just try and stay in the zone, play well, because I know if I'm in the zone, I don't remember it, I play well and I get results. But yeah, I mean, obviously, it doesn't matter like whether it was playing yourself, playing anyone. As soon as it gets tighter and tighter into a game, everyone starts thinking, and that's literally what separates players like us to top players, because in that moment of thinking, and we still see it with them, like Premier League wise, where they miss a few darts at 5-5 because it's a tight game, you start thinking. It's the same with every player, but obviously it's how you deal with them moments and manage to get yourself over a line, or if you don't, and that is literally what the rankings are. It's nothing to do with, well, consistency is there obviously, and standard and that, but it's more bottle and can you complete the task at hand.
And at Ali Pali, of course, the crowd are going to let you know as well. Was there a moment in the game for you, Fallon, where you started to realise that the crowd were sort of getting on your side because they were starting thinking she might actually be about to do this?
Yeah, I think it was when I was in the 180s and stuff. I think that's when they started kind of getting involved in it because, you know, they kind of got like, oh, this girl can actually hit stuff. And
there was one in the middle of the match, wasn't there, where you hit back to back, you're on a 9 dart at that point.
And I think that was probably it. And they probably were then, because that's what they want to do. They want to go there, enjoy the darts. That's what they want to see. They want to see 9 darters. They want to see 180s. They want to see big shot outs. And I think once you got the crowd on your side, it's kind of really hard to kind of like, you know, carry on, if that makes sense, like from Ted's point of view.
We'll come back to that winning moment in a second, but the night before, Mikuru Suzuki had been waiting on a double when James Richardson, I think it was, that put her out. He'd led 2-0, she'd come back. Had you both, we'll start with you, Ted, had you sort of seen that and taken it as a bit of a warning of what might happen?
Yeah, I mean, I did get a message from James in the morning. Obviously, I put a congratulations to him because when I first came onto the tour, I was an 18-year-old lad kind of thing. I knew James because we only live sort of 40, 50 minutes away from each other from local comps, stuff like that. So obviously, sat with him at Pro Tours, messaged him saying, congratulations, well done, kind of thing. And I mean, he put back because he said he had a fair bit of stick from the crowd and stuff. And obviously, everyone's going to have favourites. I mean, obviously, a lot of the Europeans and like international players are getting stick for going there. And obviously, everyone wants their certain player to win and stuff. So James was just like, look, I did get a fair bit of grief for it myself, but just pre-warning you kind of thing, because I know you've never been in a situation like that, because thankfully I hadn't kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, you just have to say, like, well done kind of thing.
Absolutely. And for you, did that sort of Mikuru almost doing it give you that inspiration, that thought that this could be massive if I can do this tomorrow night?
Well, it definitely inspired me because obviously I think at the time, I weren't sure if it was that year or the year before, Mikuru was our world champion. So it was like, okay, right, I can kind of put the numbers in the same as Mikuru. And I remember watching it, I was at home watching it, and I was actually like sitting there like shouting at the TV, like, go on Mikuru, like hit like all of this. I mean, I'm thankful she didn't hit it now, but do you know what I mean? But I remember like absolutely going mental with my TV. And then obviously, like when she just missed out, I was like, right, okay, if Mikuru can do it, I can do it. But obviously I didn't realise, I was nervous a little bit, like walking out and stuff. But I think once I was up there, I was all right. But yeah, no, it definitely inspired me a little bit.
I know at the time, you said at the time quite admirably that you never looked at it as playing a woman on the Ali Pali stage. You just looked at it as playing a good dart player, and you kind of got the game you were expecting. But Fallon's been asked the question a million times how it impacted her. How did that defeat impact you?
At first, genuinely, I took it as another loss kind of thing. I'm not one of them players that wins many, well, I haven't won a men's event kind of thing. I've won a couple of qualifiers and like a world qualifier and stuff like that. I've never won a men's title on the PDC. So for me, it's kind of like every event I've gone into, there's always that touch in your mind that you're thinking, at some point I am going to lose kind of thing. Which you don't, obviously not at the forefront, because obviously in every game you think you're going to win and stuff. And I actually went to, like, obviously phone blew up afterwards. And a lot of it was, you took that well kind of thing, which I am glad it was me kind of thing, because I think some players would have took it a lot worse. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I went to Canada, I think it was something like 2 weeks later, and there was a few people there that was like a little darts comp kind of thing, and I just went to go and see a couple of friends like Dawson and a few others, and it was, oh, you're that guy that lost to like the girl kind of thing, and I'm like, yeah, okay. And it kept going and to be fair, I think for about 2.5 years, any event I kind of played in that was in front of a camera, I'd get something like, oh, of course you lost that game, you lost to a lady and this, that and the other, and you're a bit like, so it's one of them sports that it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're young, old, male, female, it literally doesn't matter who you are. If you're good, you're good.
Do you think what's happened since has kind of made it less of a shock now than it was at the time because of what Fallon's gone on to achieve since? No,
because I knew everyone's got the game kind of thing. Like obviously you, Bo, Lisa, obviously would be my top 3 kind of thing. And but it's the same in the men's side of it. You've got your top players. They can play. You watch them play. Like here, whether it's women's series, TV things, you see them play and you go, kind of thing, like fair play. But I shouldn't even be having a reaction like that, because it's one of those games anyone can play it.
Absolutely. And for you, Fallon, I mean, it's been well documented, the media frenzy that came the day after I was with you that day, and it was interviews from 5 in the morning until about 8 at night. But it carried on for a long time, didn't it, after not just that match, but of course, kind of everyone forgets the name of the person you beat next, which was Mensah Suljovic, because obviously Ted was the first, but to go and do it again, just try and recall a little bit of how on earth did you deal with all that and then go and play, let alone win another match?
Do you know what? I don't even know. Because obviously, like you said, you were with me. Like, our phones died. Like, literally, like, we had no, phones or anything, because it just kept blowing up. Like, the media was absolutely crazy. And I think that's because, that's why I don't remember much of it, because we didn't have time to stop. We barely had time to get a drink, let alone, food or anything. But then I think it was the Mensa game 2 days later or something like that, and I think there was a time that we had to kind of go, right, enough's enough. I've still got my other game to focus on and stuff, but I mean it was still going crazy. But a lot of the time I was sitting there going, right, any other interviews I'll just do it later. I need to focus on my next game, because obviously I wanted to win my first game, but I'm still in the world champs here, And then obviously it just went absolutely crazy when I beat Mensah as well. I was like, oh no. But then I think I struggled a little bit after that, dealing with it a bit more, because I think it was just more crazy, and it was just trying to find a break from that.
And just before you beat Mensah, the walk on the nickname Queen of the Palace was called out for the first time. That place just erupted, didn't it? In terms of an introduction to a stage, it was one of the craziest I've ever seen. What was it like just to get to enjoy that moment? Yeah,
that was absolutely crazy and mental. I mean, I weren't expecting it either. It was just random. And then just when it exploded, I was like, wow, that's actually a really good nickname, but I can't even hear the music.
Did you not know he was going to say that?
No, I had no idea. He kept kind of going, oh, I've got sank. And I'm like, right, whatever I like, because obviously he likes to joke and all that. So I was like, oh, he's only messing with me. And obviously when he announced it and the crowd went mental, I couldn't even hear my walk on. I was like, right, okay. And then afterwards I was like, no, it's actually quite a good nickname and there's going to be no one else that gets it.
Of course, that match happened in 2019, the 2020 World Championship, and then pretty quickly afterwards, COVID happened, so everything calms down a bit. And I guess for both of you, that was a really frustrating time not to be able to keep playing darts. For Fallon, to not be able to just carry on riding this wave. But for you, as you said, everyone's now talking about Ted Evetts, the man who lost to Fallon Sherrock. All you want to do is go and do something to create a name for yourself for the right reasons, isn't it? How frustrating was that period?
It wasn't kind of thing. Like, I think for me it was the first couple of, because we got, I think, maybe 10 players champs in or 8 players champs in and a UK Open and stuff. And I think for me it was kind of like, I got to the players champs and I was playing really well still, to be honest, because 2019 was my best year by far, outside of the world and just in general. And then started the next year off and I thought, I'm still playing well, but results just weren't coming, kind of thing. And then it was one of them, like, kind of lockdown hit, didn't know, obviously it was open-ended, that's all we knew at the time, kind of thing. So for me it was kind of like, do you know what, because of some of the stick that I was getting away from it, it was quite nice to take the step back. And I was just like going for walks, bike rides, kind of just keeping myself sort of occupied, just so I weren't bored. And like, if I'd have stayed and lived on the dartboard throughout that time, I think for me, I'd have completely fell out of love with the game. But for me, it was kind of like I had a couple of weeks off, then I'd go, oh, actually, I really want to play again, play for another week. Oh, okay, put them down for a bit longer. Then we had the home tour and stuff like that. So we still had little touches of stuff to do. And then obviously the Super Series, the Summer Series and whatever they called it at the time, all started to come in for us. So it was kind of like, just, do you know what, you wanted to go and play again and stuff, which obviously kept me going, which was great.
And the end of the next year, happy ending, World Youth Champion, is that the moment that you felt, right, it's changed for me now, I've got that title, that can be the thing that goes under my name when mentioned? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I won the most titles on the Dev Tour in a span of playing it, kind of thing. Finished with 14, 8 in a year, broke a few records in that sense of it, most prize money earned from it, and everything like that was great. But at the same time, I see Dimmy lifting the title twice. I've seen Brad lift it the year before me. I'm thinking, come on, you got one last opportunity. And I remember walking in there the morning of, and I was just peacocking. Absolutely. I walked in and it was kind of shoulders back, kind of like, do you know what? I'm having it this year. And I remember saying to Owen Roloffs in the morning, I'm winning this today. And he was like, oh, right, I've heard you say that before, kind of thing. I was like, no, trust me, I'm winning this today. And then, yeah, by the end of the day, he was stuck around the whole day, fair play to him. And he was like, shook my hand, man of your word, kind of thing. And yeah, it was obviously a big relief to put the cherry on the top of the cake as such for such a good development tour career.
Absolutely well deserved. And for you, Fallon, just quickly, that moment when sort of COVID came and opportunities were taken away from you really that you would have had, you did get them later, but then that all came with a little bit of sort of people on social media complaining, saying, well, she's not done anything this year, so she doesn't deserve it, really missing the point that you'd missed out the previous year. Did you feel a little bit cheated in that period for not getting those opportunities then, or on reflection, has it all worked out well in the end?
I think obviously it's all worked out well in the end, but obviously I don't think no one was expecting the world to kind of close down for how many years was it, 2 years or something. I mean, I hated COVID because I feel like if I'd have carried on playing and COVID didn't happen, I felt like, my game probably where it is now probably would have been carrying on. But I just felt like all the weeks and all that I put in for practicing for the Worlds and all that and getting there, it was just kind of just torn away. And it was kind of building it back up, building my game back up and trying to get, interested into it because originally, when COVID hit, it was we don't know how long it's going to be here for, it'll be fine. And then obviously weeks turned into months and it was you lost the interest to kind of try and start playing and stuff. And I'm just lucky, obviously, the Modus started up because obviously it kept us going. But yeah, no, I think after COVID and when I got the World Series spots and then everyone kept moaning on social media, I think they just genuinely forgot everything and how, you know, I helped put darts where it is. I wouldn't say, you know, I'm the main person or anything like that, but I definitely helped expand it. And I think that's what people missed out because they think, oh, she just got invited, when it weren't. It was trying to advertise darts in general around the world to try and bring more sponsorships in and stuff.
And do the majority of players, do you yourself think that we've seen it again with Luke Littler this year? Do you kind of understand that the impact that had in the media worldwide has actually brought more sponsorship, more prize money to the darts? So in the end, it is better for all darts players, not just the one or two that are riding the high at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously since our game and since Luke's been around, you look at the prize money on the tour now. When I first started, one win, you get £500. It's doubled now. And for a tour to double is huge. And that's not like, obviously you see in like the stupid money sports like your footballs, your golf, F1, stuff like that. Obviously that rises up and then because of just how money's moving and stuff right now, obviously everything's going up. But for a sport to double, it just shows that like how much it has expanded around the world. And obviously people like yourself are going to make younger females and like girls and stuff go, oh, I want to give this a go because I've seen Fallon do it. And then how many kids have you seen now go, oh, I didn't like darts, but I've now got a Luke Littler shirt, Luke Littler darts, flights, walk out, starting playing academies, JDCs, whatever else, because of players like yourself and Luke. And obviously, Michael, when he first came on scene, everyone was Michael van Gerwen darts. That's all you saw. And it's great. It's what you want. You want new people changing. It's great watching Phil for years and years and years do what he did because it's just unbelievable sort of standard and whatever. But doing all of that has now brought more success and more joy for us guys. Because if you look back to even when I first started on the tour, 8 years ago kind of thing, there weren't many people that had it as a full-time job. Now, more than half the tour, I'd say it's their full-time job, and things like that is big, like down to yourself, Luke, Van Gerwen, like the names.
Well, look, it's all been very nice between you this, but I just want to ask you both a final question. Look, you've had the chance at the time we're recording this, you're both in the same groups at the Modus Super Series. Be honest, Ted,
Yep.
Did you see that fixture list and go, right, this is my chance to get a bit of revenge?
A little bit, but at the same time, obviously, before I knew this group and this week's lineup, I knew the Sunday lineup. So obviously I saw yourself was there, I saw Shane.
That was for the Influencers event.
Yeah, so I was a bit like, you can almost guess how your week's going to look because Shane coming over from Ireland, you're thinking, okay, something's got to keep him here. The same as yourself, it's kind of like, yeah, you could kind of line it up a bit. But yeah, obviously, I want to win every game I play, so whether our game had happened, like at the Worlds and stuff or not, I still want to win the game. It is what it is kind of thing. It's darts. You want to play to win and enjoy it. So, yeah.
And just being on that stage behind us and having Ted on stage with you, did that bring back some happy memories?
Yeah, definitely. I think I was more nervous the first game. I was going, please don't lose to Ted. Keep on high. But yeah, no, I think like we always have like kind of good games or close games. You know, I think it's gone like 4-3 each time. I think that's due to the pace and stuff like that. And I just think we just bring out kind of our decent games, if that makes sense. Like we dig deep, if that makes sense. Like we won't go, well, I don't know, he might do it today, but he might go 120 average or something. But I will dig deep and I will carry on trying. But yeah, my most nervous game was Monday, and then when you beat me Tuesday, I was like, ah. But I couldn't really moan because obviously he had 3 high checkouts. It might have even had 4, I don't know, I can't remember now. But I know it was like some really good checkouts, and I was like, all right, fair enough, I deserve that. And then obviously the rest of the week we still got to go.
Right, final question, 1-word answer, same question to both of you. You're both back at the World Championship at Alexandra Palace. The draw comes out, Ted Evetts against Fallon Sherrock, the rematch. Is that a dream or a nightmare? 1 word.
Dream.
Fallon?
I don't know, I'm going to say nightmare. I want to say dream because I'm like, yes, I play really well on the stage, but a nightmare because of how much pressure will be on my shoulders. And I don't mind the pressure, but I'm fed up having pressure right now.
There we go. Thanks both for talking
worries.
to us today about that. This has been Tungsten Talks with Fallon Sherrock and Ted Evetts. A great trip down memory lane. Do join us again, and it's been fabulous to talk about such a famous moment.